Hi again, everybody, and welcome back to the COVID infection risk assessment tool, or RAT for short, which can be seen at 1040plus.com/RAT. This is the second segment of two videos explaining some of the features of the RAT. A significant advancement has been adding a second dimension to the growth rate. And we did that to help not only measure the trend in growth and the velocity or slope of the growth rate, but also to help us spot a possible reversal in the trend, as we'll be getting to shortly. Now, to help us ascertain that growth rate, we developed a new page here, a collection of data. Instead of it sending you to various sites and manually calculating the growth rates, we incorporated it into our own data feed. And I think you'll find this one of the more user-friendly and informative collections of COVID data that you'll ever come across. It takes a few seconds to populate, but this is all the information you need to get started on studying your area of interest. So let me show you how we update our study areas using our new data feed. I'm going to be updating Summit County, Ohio. Filter for your state. Search your county. And here we have cases, an estimate of hospitalizations and deaths. I prefer to use the actual hospitalizations, so I have gone to my county's website to ascertain that. And then finally, our new feature. What you want to do is click on the most recent date in the cases column, and it will reveal the last 30-day average growth rate and the last 10-day average growth rate. You can actually go back in time to see the growth patterns. As you can see, they were higher earlier in the pandemic, and they've been gradually receding. As you can see, I'm going up or clicking from past 10 days, and they're going down. So we got 2.6 and 1.4. Okay, now we have accurate and current information on Summit County, Ohio, and you can see your baseline interaction risk. Your personalized risk factors are based on these variables, as you learned in the first video, how the number of your interactions and your surroundings affects your personalized risk. And if your county's working population took on this same variables, work-life variables, how it would impact the projection for the whole county. But now what we've done is we want to compare our results. We want to see how our county is doing with other jurisdictions, and that's why we created the heat index. So here is our updated information on Summit County, Ohio. Now let's update the national and the state. This data is a few days old. We'll start with the U.S. Now let's see what the U.S.'s growth rate has been. Now, when on the U.S., you can see we're still looking at the Summit County growth rate. You must click on in the positive column, and you can see that our national is at 1.6 and 1.1. Continues to head downward. Let's look at the state of Ohio now. 40,004. And what is the growth rate for Ohio? We click in the positive column. 1.9 and 1.1. Now 2 trending to 1 is a steeper decline than 1.5 trending to 1. So you're going to get a cooler trend line here. It's actually a cooler rate, descending rate than the national average. If our trend was not as steep as that, we would be seeing a hotter trend line. So now that we have updated data, the national average is always going to be at 50. That's the percentile. That's the aggregate of all counties and states combined. Here you can see Summit County. The percentile rank is ahead of above 50, which means it's hotter, running hotter than the national averages. And actually Summit County is running hotter than the state of Ohio overall, and that's because the county is Akron is the state's fifth largest city. So there is a significant urban area in Summit County, whereas the entire state of Ohio includes a lot of rural counties. So stands to reason that closer proximity of urban areas is going to result in more interactions, which results in a higher case count. One final observation before leaving this screen is to point out the consistency in the growth trend between county, state, and federal. And it was not always like this. Generally, you're going to see more ups and downs at the county level simply because you have fewer cases. It takes fewer cases to change the growth rate. And secondly, the state, it takes a little bit more effort and obviously more cases to see a change in the growth rate at the state level. And finally, at the national level, it's going to take quite a bit of activity for the growth rates to change. But a better way to visualize this would be to chart it. And that is the final new feature of the RAT that I would like to present to you at this moment. Okay, we access our charts by going back to our data feed page, and we'll start with the US. Click on the latest date in the positive column. That reveals the most recent growth rates, but let's see what it looks like over time. And I took a page from the Stock Investor's Handbook. Um, for years, I mean, traditionally, stock investors chart a long-term moving average and a short-term moving average. And the theory is that when the short-term moving average crosses over the long-term, that is a signal of a reversal in trend. Okay, a negative reversal is called a death cross. A positive reversal is called a golden cross. As you can see here, the short term or the 10-day average growth rate is comfortably below the 30-day, the longer term average. There is no um, attempt at a trend reversal. Now, but don't get too comfortable about this, because these are the national averages. This is the national average. We're talking over 1 million cases. So it's going to take quite a bit of activity for there to be an attempt to reverse the trend. Let's look at the state level, and I was looking at Ohio, since I'm studying Ohio. We're still showing national down here, so let's click on the positive, and we're looking at Ohio now. Here's Ohio. As you can see, they had a much higher growth rate than the national level. This was 30 days ago, more than 30 days ago. It looks like from May 14th. But again, both trend lines are sloping downward, and there's no attempt here to reverse, no indication of a trend reversal. Despite there being occasional headlines throughout the state of a spike in cases here and there, but that's the beauty of charting the 10-day averages. The daily, looking at the daily numbers, you're going to see some aberrations and some spikes. But by taking the 10-day averages and the 30-day averages, it smooths out the aberrations. And it will give you a truer indication of a trend reversal. Now, there has been news recently about some of the states. Let's take a look at Texas. There's been a report of activity in Texas, and as you can see, the short-term trend is going to make an attempt at crossing over. There's still some wiggle room there, so it's not a cause for concern. But anytime I hear on the news or see a headline of a spike in cases, I visit the rat and I look to see if there's been a trend reversal. And let me show you one that was in the news recently that is quite interesting, and this would be the state of Arkansas. We click on the most recent positive, and look what's happening in the state of Arkansas, ladies and gentlemen. Here is this is not a clear breakout, but the short-term trend is obviously trying to break out beyond the long term, and just this activity here, this uptick, and it's more than an uptick. I mean, this is a trend. I mean, remember, we're talking about the moving average, so it takes quite a bit of activity for that to head upward, but just this uptrend has caused the long-term trend to head upward. So there's something serious going on in Arkansas. The short-term trend is causing a long-term uptrend. So we're going to keep an eye on that. And this is at the state level. Wait till you see the county level. So we go into our counties. Again, my first concern is my home county. Click on the most recent number of cases, and that produces our chart. Nothing to worry about here. There was some upward trend here. Looks like back at the end of May, which had potential for a reversal, but has since gone back down. Now, something like this may be a reporting issue, a surge in testing, although I do chart the growth in testing, and I have not seen anything at our county level that would explain this. But there's no reason for alarm here in Summit County. Let's go back to what's happening in Arkansas. And I'll show you, this made the headlines. And sure enough, you'll see what I mean. You will see a death cross here. This is it right here, where there was a clear breakout from the short-term trend through the long-term trend, and look what's happened. That clear breakout has caused the long-term trend to spiral upward. Fortunately, since, I mean, this is all it took right here on the short term to produce this long term. But fortunately, I would expect this to go back down because the short term now, it looks like they got a grip on things, and it's leveled off. And looks like since the 6th of June has starting to trend downward again. So let's hope that our neighbors in Arkansas are getting their act together and taking measures to reverse this long-term trend. Keep an eye on this. This is worth visiting. And of course, you're going to want to visit, chart your own area of interest. You may be traveling. You may have relatives throughout the country. You're going to want to see what the activity is. You can't always trust the media. As you know that they are fear mongers, and there's a reason why they want you to tune in. So do your homework, stay informed, read the charts, and most of all, we hope you stay informed and that keeps you safe. Thanks for watching, and good luck.